No fan of the race swap, but I'd say it's a bigger problem that she's fat. Yo, 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 you know what it is. It's the Vulgar One, the Vulgar Son, the Vulgar Desperado.
Sitting with them is the gentleman bastard.
And yo, it's time for another edition of Two Black Guys Tell You Why Something is Not Cracking. And today we got, our subject is April O'Neil, the latest, but actually this isn't her first time of, being race swapped. This is actually the second time she's been race swapped in the Turtles universe. In the most recent TV show, Rising of the TMNT, she was fat and black in there too.
They felt they should stay the course, and
yeah,
I don't think that you should have.
To this generation, April O'Neil is a fat black girl, unfortunately. And we gotta let you know the issue with that. Now, there's a lot of ways to tackle that. There's a lot of things that are already normally said. I mean, right? Like, the fact of the matter is they keep erasing any ginger, remote redhead character, turning them black. I mean, that shit it's trite. We all know that. Yep. It's getting old, and I'm not a fan of it. But as I already stated, I'll make the argument. I think it's even more offensive that they keep making her overweight.
Yeah.
Like, black women can't be thin or attractive.
Can't be in shape, can't be any type of athletic or something like that on top of it. It just can only be fat.
Like, that's really weird. Like, if you want to race swap her, like, why you got to add on the extra pounds?
Exactly. April is sitting here running around and doing stuff with ninjas. Like, she's
and so even then, like, she was like a scientist. I remember the first issue where April is like seen, she's like, running from mousers because she was working with Baxter Stockman. That scene doesn't work well when you're like a big girl,
Like,
and this,
we're not gonna
what? Let's be real. I'm gonna start right here. It's just no hate on the big ladies, right? There's no hate, no shame. More cushion for the pushing. Y'all need love too. We know what it is, but at the same time, it is kind of odd that if you're gonna race swap, you had to add on some pounds. Like, that wasn't already bad enough. Like, it's already bad that you're doing some woke shit, but then you got to do something that's arguably insulting.
Exactly. Like, you could have just make her black, have her with the nice type of dreads or some curly hair or something like that. But you had to make her black, fat, and what? She gonna just talk about food all the time instead?
She looks like she would be one of the food characters.
I'm a food critic, and I do this blog online.
That's it. She's not a journalist. She's a food critic. Yo, if they did that shit,
exactly.
At least it'd be kind of funny. Play into it, right?
That's the only thing you're gonna make her a joke at that point. It's like you make her a fat black joke, and that's when it's like, come on now, that's offensive to just anybody who can be black.
Got
fat,
this fucking mammy ass body,
right.
and I think that's the thing that's just kind of whack because going back to Rising of the TMNT, and I'm gonna have to throw up a picture of here so niggas know. The voice actress of there is Kat Graham, alright? This fine ass sister, and you're like, nigga, why the fuck did you make April look like this in comparison? And listen, the one in the TV show, maybe, I mean, she's kind of rounder too, not super round, maybe not as round as like this CG picture right here. And I don't get it. I don't understand if
why you want to voice bad representation.
Exactly. I think that's the problem because, if she, and look, like, you can take something like The Little Mermaid where that girl, I think it's Chloe Bailey, she's a pretty girl, and there's still backlash, and there's a lot to unpack there, but when it comes to April, and this, I can't prove, but I pointed to you, audience, let niggas know, would people care as much if she was pretty, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of the race swapping in the general sense. Like, Turtles is one of my favorite franchises, period, as we said several times on this channel. But at the same time, if you saw April and, and let's say this was like live action, right? Like the last one they had Megan Fox. And, if they wanted to hit the blind casting and they actually got an attractive sister coming in there saying, hey, she captured that news reporter kind of gumption that we were looking for, whatever kind of type of April. Because, she's been a scientist, a ninja, and everything. April's been all of it. Whatever, that would be fine. But why are y'all out there choosing the ones that are just not easy on the eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then this is a created character.
Yeah.
You couldn't make her easy on the eyes.
Why
I mean,
wouldn't you?
Like, yeah.
Beauty sells beautifully.
Yeah,
for a reason. It's like,
and
you
I
want to see something.
Like, maybe they're trying to go, the young route. The turtles are young, and maybe this April's like in that, 13-year-old phase where you haven't, you're growing and you still lose that weight, that baby fat, the baby fat, the baby fat. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's the dealio, right? And I can understand that in a logical sense.
Yep.
However, this is your second time in a row making her bigger and less attractive, and it's not like, oh, we need to fap to April. But it is kind of weird that you would put a lot of weight on her. Like, let's be real. Black women can come in thin, and they do come skinny. Like, some of the more famous actresses out there are not all big. You'd be like, oh, well, what about Missy Elliott? She lost weight.
She did.
You know what I'm saying?
To her,
crazy ass Gabrielle Union is thin. You know what I'm saying? Halle Berry is thin. Yeah, like, so, it's just kind of weird. And again, thinking of Cat Graham here, like, why would y'all do that, Yeah,
it's misrepresentation, and it's just like, you yourself aren't like this. Why do you want to be viewed like this if you're voicing it? Like, you should at least vouch for it to be like, hey, can she be a thick sister instead? Does she have to be around?
Right, and like, look, it's a kid show. Y'all don't have to put the dumper on her, but y'all can make her thin.
Like, we all saw Mrs. Incredible. Don't.
She don't have to be like that. But if you want to, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that's the thing. It's like, you could just make her normal. It doesn't have to be, like, fat and black. She could just be black. Girl, and again, most of us would probably still have a problem with the swap. It's not okay, to do ginger erasure. Like, you know what I'm saying? Niggas are not okay about that. We actually, we actually just prefer what it was originally. However, black, white, everybody, men and women, we all just kind of want what we grew up on. There's nothing wrong with that. But, like sometimes, like plays, right? Like not King Arthur, what the fuck am I thinking of? Romeo and Juliet, right? Like, if you were doing that in a school play and it was another nationality kid, like, won the role of Romeo and different nationality for Juliet, niggas aren't going to be up in arms like this is, like, inauthentic. You're at the fucking school play. It's a diverse area. It is what it is. So the same thing can happen when it comes to these movies and characters. I don't think it's super bad if you went in on a blind casting and said who embodies the character if you wanted to do that. Now, I prefer things to look a little bit more accurate. However, there are some people, Denzel Washington in The Equalizer, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. There's a lot of people that can just switch a role, take it, make it their own, and you won't even know or give a fuck. Exactly. And April could be like that. But they keep adding the fat adjective, and that's where you're like, hey, something's a little disrespectful here. Something smells a little fishy here. This is a little bit like it's like, oh, let's be extra woke. This is gonna be body positivity and racial. No, bro. How about you just focus on one?
Characters for that then.
Yeah, like why? Like, why didn't you make it? All right, we want to make her fat. Why wouldn't you just stay white then? You know what I mean? Like, it's like obesity is an all around American problem. I've seen them in all colors. You know what I'm saying?
Very much.
So it's a little bit weird in my personal opinion. And I believe, I mean, like I said, I believe that people would still have a fuss if, because they did the race swap. I think that's the biggest problem. And I don't know if people, but I would like to believe, I don't know, maybe people would not care as much if she was prettier, right? Because April is, like, just generally, it was Megan Fox who played her in the most recent life. Like, April's never not pretty. I think in the most general sense, you take the race aside of him, like, she's just kind of ugly now. And that's not okay.
It's really not. Like, after years and years of just having this pretty woman run around with these turtles doing all these adventures, all these cosmic things, and it's just all of a sudden, like, no matter what, she was pretty ugly now.
Yeah, now
It's just like, why? For what reason? Like, did y'all really hate Megan Fox as the last April? And then you had to make both of the last one, or both of the newer ones, like, black, ugly, and fat no matter what, just like because they're complete opposite. Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, like, it doesn't make any sense. So, I don't know. I mean, again, it's not good to race swap. However, I think it's even worse to add the extra adjective of wokeness, body positivity type shit. and I'm a little disappointed of it. I will definitely check out this movie still, but I think that is, at least that is an angle, from us Jabberjaws that I don't think most people will, look at. Like, yeah, it is bad that they race swapped her, but not only did they make her unattractive, but they put on the whole fat adjective.
Exactly.
And I think that's a bigger problem. Not a bigger, but it's a big problem that people will maybe not think about.
Easily overlooked just because, oh well, now she's just a whole different color. Or this will make this is something that you guys should notice. Like,
right, you should feel, especially black women, you should feel a way that Hollywood is telling you, oh, we view you as only the big one.
And
that's not healthy.
It's not true.
Yeah, and exactly. It's not true. It's not healthy. It's not that's not what you call representation.
No.
All right. That's what you call kind of an insult,
Exactly,
And again, this is no shame on people that have some, weight on them. It is what it is. However, we know what's healthy. You can't deny what's healthy. You don't have to be looking like the fucking Rock and ripped to shreds, but we all know what's healthy and what they're trying to promote. And that's what it looks like. It looks like some negative propaganda. That's the problem.
Exactly. Negative propaganda that's just with our face, which makes it just that much more at home for us. That's why we had to say something.
So people out there, stop buying into this propaganda. At least don't support it. If you want to see even if we're going to do some swaps, let's at least be, as equally as good. How about that?
Let's be generous.
Right.
Let's spread the wealth to everybody, not just to the ones.
Right, exactly. It's not just the pretty ones, like things like there's a mouth experience. But I'm sidetracking here. We need to wrap this shit up. Anyways, you know what it is. Jabberjaws in the booth, Vulgar Desperado.
Gentleman Bastard.
And we'll catch you on the next vid.